Good Tuesday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk, an insider's guide to real estate, life, and the pursuit of happiness on the I Love CVille Network, presented by Yes Team Realtors and Yes Realty Partners. Today's program, a dynamic one: real estate, zoning, planning, affordability, housing, all these topics in the news and making, folks, the rounds in our community. We'll talk about all these today on the program. Before we do, let's welcome Judah Wickower, our director, and also the star of our show, Keith Smith with the studio camera, J-Dubs. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning, Keith Pasa.
I'm doing well. How are you?
You know, if I was doing any better, it'd be illegal.
There you go.
You know, Tuesdays and Fridays and Mondays now are my best days, so thank you. I just enjoy sitting across from a microphone with you and just having a great time and you know, being who we are. And it's just great that folks are watching. So interesting. We started the show. We started pre-production show.
Huh?
I didn't go in the green room today.
No, you did not. Brian Dean Susia, the realtor, welcome to the show.
Hey,
Wanda
Brian.
Schenk, hello.
Hey. Lumber's price dropping.
It is.
So, I mean, it's still 3 times higher than it was normally, but it looks like it's below $1,000 a board per 1,000 board feet. So, you know, that's a good thing. And then it was interesting because I cross-referenced.
Dang, dude. It just dropped to $9.50 and 60 cents.
I'm tracking.
Yeah, me too. Hit refresh.
Oh, I didn't. Nope, let me hit refresh. So let's talk about what that might mean for everybody. And it's interesting because I ran the last 4 days in price changes.
Uh-huh.
And I actually saw the first time new construction went down. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4 Ryan Home projects or homes. One dropped by 20 grand, one dropped by 10 grand, one dropped by 5 grand. Two by 5 grand. I apologize. 2 by 5 grand, 1 by 10 grand, 1 20 grand. I don't. You know, this was early this morning, so I don't really know what the specifics was. But I tracked this pretty closely. That's the first time I've seen new construction actually slide down, and they're at the Riverwood subdivision, and some of them went from 459 to 439, 474 to 464, 504 to 499. 534 to 529. I don't know what that means at the moment. Maybe it might be this. Because folks like Ryan, they buy 3 months in advance based on
Prices.
Futures, future
right.
markets. So it could be a sign of good things. Just keep in mind it's about 3 times as high as it normally is at this point. So again, I think it's some good information. And
I'm looking at the 1 month chart, guys, now on lumber. We're talking from. In May, all right, well, I'll go as far back as May 7th. May 7th, lumber, $1,686.60, and that's measured in price per
1,000 feet.
Price per 1,000 feet. So, Keith Smith, May 7th, 2021, which is a month and a week ago, it was $1,686 per 1,000 square feet. Today, my friend, $950.60. You're talking a difference of a delta of over $700.
So back, you know, if you push it back 5 years and you take a look at the running average, it's somewhere around $500 to $600. So we're about double or more or less of what it normally is.
Uh-huh.
So I think that'll start trickling down. And again, I just don't. There may be some other issues going on with the Ryan why they reduced. It just was noteworthy. I've been tracking this every day for the last couple of months. That's the first time I've seen a new construction active go down. They've been going up. They've been going up by these numbers. So, you know, who knows? This might be a good sign moving forward.
Hello, Christopher Eagle.
Hey,
we love
Chris.
you, Christopher Eagle. Yes, Realty Partners. So this hit the CNBC ticker today. Home builder sentiment drops to a 10-month low. As construction costs drive prices higher, home builder sentiment dropped 2 points to 81 on the NAHB monthly index. Higher costs and declining availability for softwood lumber and other building materials pushed down builder sentiment in June.
So obviously, if you can't buy material, can't build.
Yeah.
And then some of these larger firms, you know, that do not have accelerator clauses in their contracts, or, you know, they're losing money. I tell you, and you and I have had this discussion before. To me, there's a bigger issue going on than lumber.
Okay.
And so these are commodities. we're watching it, right? It goes up and down and all this kind of great stuff. What nobody's talking about, and I think if you read that report and dig into it, which I have not done, the hiring of people, the hiring of skilled folks. We were talking about this, believe it or not, at the wedding. I have some family that are in the trades out in California, out in New Mexico, and stuff like that. They can't hire people because to take somebody from the beginning to the point that they're electrician, let's say, that they can work on their own, is about a 5-year training cycle. So I think that has a longer impact on it. And then, of course, what we've been talking about all the time is the regulatory requirements on that. Is about $100,000, $90,000 per a typical $400,000 house. But this is a good sign. Yeah. Right. This is a good sign. I think people kind of latch on to this as a leading indicator, but underneath, the lack of skilled labor or skilled trades folks, I think is going to impact things a little bit more long term. I think short term lumber and stuff like that can just be ramped up.
So what's the expectation for the rest of the year? Or is this something that's 22 impact?
Oh, this is 22 impact.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see this lumber. I mean, look, it's a commodity. God only knows how it's going to go, right? If you knew how that was going to go, we'd be saying,
we'd be wealthy.
Show's over. Let's go
to the islands.
But yeah, so I think it's a trend in the right direction, right? Because it was almost double not too long ago. So I think we're going in the right direction. I think you're going to see that work its way down to the pricing if this is any indication on that end of it. But prices seem to be stabilizing. I was taking a hard look at this globally, in the local area. So I think that's good. A normal market is what we want. Yeah. Right. So I think we're doing good.
How do you think the next part of 2021 is going to go?
That's interesting. Yonna and I were talking about this morning. It feels like a lot of people are taking okay, I'm vaccinated, I'm gone. Right. It just seems like we have a lot of. But I can tell you, I know on the Yes team and YRP side of things, we've got a bunch of listings coming up. So you're starting to see listings coming up. I think what happened, this is my opinion for what it's worth, I think there was this early summer lull kind of happened in April and May, which we normally have in July and August. Okay. So I think you're going to start seeing confidence going up a little bit more. Buyers are frustrated, right? They're frustrated. But we're also starting to see the multiple offers get reduced down to like 2 offers or 3 offers. It depends on the property, of course. But it was that. It was funny. It was we just put a new piece of property, which you'll get the paperwork to push for us. Great. Soon.
Where's that at?
It'll be at Lake Monticello
Nice.
At the Acres. It was right next to my house, actually. I don't live there. But, I built a house, they're friends, yada, yada, yada. And they go, well, so we're going to put it on Friday. So we're going to see contracts on Saturday. I go, no.
Really?
Yeah. So that whole mentality is kind of out there, and it'll work its way back to some normalcy.
They staying in the market?
Excuse me?
They staying in the market?
No, there's some health issues. They have to move outside the area. But the reality of it is, I think you're starting to see the market stabilize a little bit as far as product coming on, product going off, that kind of thing. So I feel good about the second. I'm trying not to answer this.
You did a very good job of sidestepping that.
I've been doing this.
You have the gift of gab, my friend.
I've been doing this long enough to know to do that.
That was the best non-answer I've ever heard right there.
I could see the look in your face. The chemistry's like, come on, Smith, answer the question.
Damn answer.
So the answer, put me on the spot. It's gonna.
You still think it's going to be a buyer's market, but not as much of a buyer's market in the last part of the year?
No, you got that backwards.
Or excuse me, a seller's market, but it's not as much of a seller's market in the back part of the year.
I think it's going to get more to a normalization to it. You're going to.
We hope.
Yeah, I mean, we're already seeing it. I mean, I whatever realtors that happen to be watching, if they can at least chime in and say how many multiple offers have they've experienced in the last week or two.
How about you, Brian? You're watching the show.
Yeah, how many multiple offers you have experienced in that? Are you starting to see a slowdown, a little bit of DOMs, right? I mean, it's just like minutes is just not healthy, right? Seconds is not healthy of hitting the button. Up there, it's done.
I mean, going under contract before they're listed.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is it seems to be out there on the street that there is an understanding that sub 3% is not normal mortgage rates, right? And that is going to go up. That will go up over the year. I don't think you'll see over 4%. And we talk about this all the time. I think my big concern is inflation. Let's
go down that road.
Yeah, it's just
fuel prices impact everything.
Fuel prices impact everything, but I'll tell you, I predicted, maybe wrongly, which is I'm happy to say.
$4 a gallon gas.
I think that might not happen.
Okay.
I expected it to be, with the Memorial Day weekend, to be way north of 3 around here, and then it wasn't, at least for my own, where I buy gas.
What, flirting with 3?
Yeah, but I'm talking
talking
about like 325, 350, that kind of thing, and it seems to have stabilized a little bit on that. Again, I'm not an expert in this field.
Hello, Ray Cadell. Welcome to the show. Ray Cadell, are you seeing multiple offer situations still? Are you seeing the crazy 5, 6, 7 multiple offer situations, Ray Cadell?
And at what price point are you seeing them at?
And at what price point? Or are you seeing 1, 2, 3 multiple offer situations? We trust your opinion, Ray Cadell.
Very much so. So I just think, overall it's starting to stabilize, and I'd love whoever's watching to see if they
NBC 29.
NBC 29.
Hello.
Maybe NBC 29 can tell us if it's stabilizing or not.
Well, NBC 29, you may want to cover in your news broadcast that lumber prices are going down. That could be good for the 6 o'clock.
I'll leave the name out of it, but I saw a post from a competing TV channel asking, "Hey, any news to share?" They were looking for some news. But yeah, lumber seems to be going down, so that's nothing but a good thing on that end of it.
My friend, I know something that you really want to discuss with some of the topics from yesterday's program.
I do.
Including what we may be seeing, the pushing out of the mom and pops for corporate entities that can afford.
We're back on the corner, right?
Rents. Not just the corner. I mean, look at Stonefield. You look at Barracks. You look at the corner. You look at Fifth Street Station.
So I will leave because the gentleman is a dear friend of the two of us.
Okay.
But I'll leave the name out of it. And the conversation, so I do, not a lot, but I do a fair amount of commercial. And there's this whole conversation going on purchasing, right? So we talked about this on the residential side. What's the best hedge against inflation?
Real estate ownership.
Own
the real estate.
Exactly right.
Because your costs are fixed.
That's exactly right. Well, commercial's a little different.
Yeah. But still, that's a good hedge.
Well, exactly right. It's not fixed for 30 years or something like that. It could be fixed for 10 or 15 or something along those lines. But that's a conversation that's going out here, and it's interesting because everybody expected with COVID the commercial market to kind of evaporate.
Yeah.
And that is not happening.
I've seen the opposite.
That's exactly right.
And if anything, okay, mine is different. I'm not Class A. I'm executive. Smaller offices. Waiting list.
Yeah. Well, the model that you have is pretty unique, and frankly, where the trend is going.
Yeah.
This executive suites, this collaborative workspace, that kind of stuff. I think that's where you're independent, particularly with COVID, right?
Yeah. They want a place where they can go, and if they want to, not be around people and can close the door, have high-speed fiber internet that's furnished. It's not a long-term lease.
It's that, but more so, and it was interesting. I was doing some research for the show this morning, talking about, because I figure we're going to talk a little bit about upzoning and impacts and stuff like that. And I'm not an expert at all on the school portion of that.
Uh-huh.
I can talk enough about other infrastructure, but not that particular thing. So I was I asked Google. the Google, so what will be the long-term impact of COVID on education? And if my daughter wasn't on the way back to Seattle. I would love to get her opinion on this.
Okay.
But I figured this would not be a good question to ask while she's getting married. Hey, honey, as I'm walking her down the aisle.
What's the long-term impact of the career you chose?
Well, so what I'm getting at is are we going to have some sort of continued hybrid,
Yeah.
not bird, not the tweet, but the hybrid on that? So meaning, or is there going to be this hybrid between you're going to be allowed, and I don't know the answer to this, are you going to be allowed, can Trey, when he goes to school, be allowed to do it at home, virtually?
Yes.
So that's the answer? Do you know the answer to that?
Well, I'm going to throw it to you like this, okay?
It's going down, by the way.
I see that. Ray Cadell says less now than before, pretty much a function of how correctly the house is priced to begin with.
That's exactly right. Yeah. That's it. And you're seeing less of price changes. Again, looking at the last 4 days, there's only I didn't number them, but there's less now than there was 2 weeks ago. There was this. I think people just put their houses on a little bit too high, overpriced them, in my opinion, and now they're starting to adjust them.
Jamie Turner, I'll get to that comment. I love when you watch the show, Jamie Turner. To answer Keith Smith's question, do you envision education 20 years from now 20 years from now, we're going to be in agreement that technology is going to be better, right?
I would think so.
Right? That's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
So
who was talking about change yesterday? Neil.
Yeah. So 20 years from now, technology is going to be better.
Of course.
I envision a world.
It'll be different than it is now. I'm not so sure better, but that's a different.
This is what I envision 20 years from now. Trey, 20 years from now, he's going to be in college. So let's say 10 years from now. Trey is going to be in middle school. Trey is going to have the ability to learn from home. The teacher is going to be a superimposed graphic in our house. The teacher will be in front of a green screen in her classroom. She will be teleported or transported, a digital version of herself, into our home. He will be interacting with this graphic that's living, breathing, almost like
hologram.
Yeah, hologram.
Star Trek
virtual
stuff.
reality stuff. Okay, so Mr. and Mrs. Teacher is going to be in our living room working with Trey, teaching Trey, because it's the future of education. Old buildings that need tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to maintain, that are not clean, that are not ventilated, that cost taxpayers a hell of a lot of money? Or is the future of education invest into some technology and do this virtual reality education that anyone can learn anywhere?
So I'm clearly have zero.
I've thought a lot about this.
I know you have, but I have zero expertise in this thing, and we'll bring in.
Can you imagine a virtual reality I Love CVille Network? That's why I've thought about this.
Brother, I'm just trying to get through today, man.
That's why I've thought about this.
But yeah, no, I get it. And look, at some point, what you've just predicted or some variation of that, I'm confident is going to happen. But I'm trying to eat this elephant a little bit, one bite at a time. Not that we would ever eat an elephant, but one bite at a time.
Eat the elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah, that's a saying. You never heard about that saying?
Is that a saying, or did you just make that up?
That is not. That is a long-standing thing. Google.
Has anybody else heard the saying, eat the elephant one bite at a time?
Yeah.
I'm going to check. You go ahead. I don't mean to distract you. I'm literally Googling this.
You always distract me.
Eat the elephant.
I think that's part of what makes your day. Let's distract Smith.
Let's see here.
It's
Google,
a saying. It's a saying.
The only way to eat an elephant. Judah, have you heard of eat the elephant one? It's don't eat the elephant one bite at a time. Okay, go ahead. I guess that is an actual saying.
No, you can, just you eat the elephant one bite at a time. If you want to accomplish a huge problem, right? You take it one bite at a time. You don't go ahead and try to. Okay, I'll put it in a sports vernacular. Hey, by the way, UVA, freaking awesome.
Oh,
did you watch
my gosh, the Grand Slam?
Dude, really?
Dude, College World Series.
I know. I was traveling. I was listening on the thing. I literally pulled over to the side of the road, and I said, "Okay, here we go." And bam, I went, "Holy schmoly!" Brian's doing a great job.
Yeah, Coach O'Connor.
Yeah. So how do you win a baseball game?
You score more runs than the other team.
I know that, but you play by short ball.
Okay, well, you can. That's one way.
Well, let's put it this way: you don't walk up to the game plan of Brian to win the next game is every batter has to hit a home run. That's not a strategy, a winning strategy.
I would agree.
So
Christopher Eagle says that is a saying.
I know it's a saying. Christopher's a rock star.
Christopher is a rock star. We love you, Christopher Eagle.
He was impressed with my Vans yesterday, by the way. My little Van shoes.
Oh, I see that. The guy has the dress of a 22-year-old hipster.
That's because I kind of want to go back there. But anyway, but so the point is that I get what you're saying, and I understand where you're going at, and I think that's ultimately there. But what I'm trying to do is eat this pie one bite at a time, right? Because we don't want to offend Yonna, which is a lover of elephants, is to go ahead and eat one. But today, tomorrow, next year, the year after that, because it's important to this conversation we're going to have about zoning, right? And upzoning and increased density, because one of the concerns about that from folks is, will we overtax the school system? Right? And it's a legitimate question.
Very legitimate. And you got the Mountain View parents watching right now.
Uh-oh.
You better be careful, dude.
Meeting's over. Bye-bye.
Yeah, just letting you know.
Let's see what lumber's doing. Refresh.
Finish your thought, though.
No. Yeah, now I'm in trouble. No. So, look, I don't claim to be an expert, nowhere near it. If we want to talk water and sewer infrastructure, fiber infrastructure, I'm an expert at that, and housing and real estate. But I am that. But the question I'm asking for somebody to answer is 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, is there going to be the option for Trey to go to school at home if you and Mrs. Miller choose that that's the best path for your son, right? Or they're going to say, no, that is over, right? You must go in person. So I think answering that.
I want my kid to go in person. 100% in person.
I'm just
saying, like, when this little guy gets to middle school or high school, this hybrid option or the stay-at-home digital option, which is being offered by Albemarle County now.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay,
literally,
I don't know that. Yeah.
You have that option. You can
for next school year.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. So this option that's being offered right now is going to be so much more freaking dynamic. Yeah. And my memory gets nostalgic of Helen Dragas. Do you remember that name?
I do, very much so.
UVA Board of Visitors.
I remember that.
And Helen Dragas got pushed off the UVA Board of Visitors because she was a huge proponent of Coursera.
Yeah.
Making the University of Virginia digital education, virtual education. And
a little bit ahead of her time.
She was right.
Yeah, she was right.
And her prediction was, why does UVA take 22,000 students in person when they can take 20 million students from all around the world?
Yeah. Well, but yeah, so it's.
Now the counter of that is the maturity you get from this in-person interaction.
Sure.
Skill sets. Yeah.
Skill sets. Yeah, and that,
Mark McKinney's watching. Crozet.
Hey, Mark.
CAC.
Hey, Mark.
He says, look at Western School District right now, Keith.
Yeah.
Overpopulated.
It's overpopulated because everybody wants to go there, and that's kind of the track on that. And I'm looking at this more of a global or a regional question. I don't know. Is that the answer out there? I don't really know. I'm not the expert on it. I know that it's probably never going to go back to where it was. And this is the same thing in the business world, right? In our world, in my business, right, the real estate business, the brick and mortar world is, for all intents and purposes, going away to small little pods. That's kind of what we do, right? This big, large brick building with hundreds of agents in it, it's just not going to be there. But it's kind of industry specific, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're one of my agents, I want you on the road meeting people, not sitting in an office.
Right.
But that's how we run.
Jamie Turner watching from Orange County, Woodbury Forest's finest, Orange County's finest. Jamie Turner, Gordonsville's finest. I've been following the market, Keith. A bit in Orange, Culpeper, and Gordonsville. I've seen more price decreases in houses staying on the market longer over the last month. Jamie Turner, you make us better, baby.
Yeah, totally. I don't have Orange in these set of numbers we're looking at it, but there is. I don't like the word going down. It's just a price adjustment, a price. They're kind of stabilizing on the pricing on it. I don't like. I hate. This is one of my pet peeves. You drive down the road and you see price reduced on a thing.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Why would okay? Let's spitball this.
That's just like
price reduction is stigmatizing the listing.
I don't get it.
Is it not?
I don't get it.
It's new price. Like branding 101.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm almost going to say I'm not that smart, but you'd yell at me, so I won't say it.
So you say instead of price reduction, say
new price.
New price. Right. No, it's a no-brainer.
I mean, I don't know. It's just like, okay. I mean, if I'm walking in the door and I'm negotiating against you in price reduction,
this guy wants to sell his home immediately, right?
Yeah. Whatever. I just never understood it, but that works for people, and so I'm not criticizing that at all. And I'm trying not to get the Woodbury Forest people.
No, what you're doing is you're offering advice,
a different perspective. I'm different, all right. So I don't know that I understand increased density impacts schools. I also, and I again, I'm not educated enough to talk intelligently about this, but I do know that families are getting smaller, right? I do know the trend based on the NAR statistics.
Parenthood is so hard.
Oh, dude.
It's so hard.
Oh, man.
Longest, shortest
is
thing ever.
Is Harry watching?
Harry Tyson, are you watching? Raise your hand over there, Harry.
Because
Harry, I enjoyed meeting you, HT.
So, it's been a while since we've had a toddler in the house, and there was a little bit of a meltdown going on. It was Sunday after you saw Harry. I don't know if you saw him, but little Harry was eating a piece of cake about the size of freaking...
This is what I saw. I loved meeting Harry. I loved meeting your oldest daughter. I saw Harry, little Harry, on a sugar high, like an absolute sugar high, running everywhere. And then I saw big Harry and your daughter scoop him up, put him in the Subaru, and sprint for Connecticut.
Well, actually, they went home. Okay. But yeah.
And you were like, "Are they leaving? Are they leaving?" Is that pretty much it?
That's what happened. Yeah. I was like, "Whoa, where did everybody go?" But thank you for coming. By the way, it's great to meet your lovely wife and your son. Your son is awesome.
How was your second time meeting them? Do you remember the first time?
I do. It was at El Mariachi.
El Mariachi.
At the Soft Open. Thank you. I'm impressed. Yeah. I got to get you something better than that.
This is good.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what I say to the people that... No, finish your thought.
I lost it.
No, you did not lose it. You did not.
No, I just, you asked me this question yesterday. The statistics, and I didn't bring them with me because I just didn't have time.
Kids in schools, families getting schools.
No, I get that, but this missing middle thing we've been talking about, where I think it's on the horizon and it's coming. What kind of impacts it's going to have, and I look at it a different way. What if we don't do it? Right. So if we don't do it, places like Crozet will just get more expensive, get more affluent, get more white, right? More like us, and it really won't diversify the neighborhood. Saying that, I understand it. The schools right now are stretching at the brim, and I don't have an answer to that. I do know if nothing happens, what the result's going to be, because there's going to be more of what's going on right now. And not that there's anything wrong with that, to quote.
Not that there's a Seinfeld.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. But it's that. But if you do some simple Google searches and take a look at Minnesota and some of the other states, Arlington's in the process of doing it right now. This missing middle, they don't really. They're not really seeing the negative impacts.
Which is traffic, more cars on the road.
Yeah,
infrastructure wear and tear.
So what they're seeing is more use of bikes, more use of public transport, more use of walking. Right, the walk scores start going up.
Devil's advocate with you.
But the where is super important, right?
Exactly.
So
because if you do that in Crozet, where's someone biking? Where's someone walking? And where's someone public transporting?
I bike around Crozet. But yeah, you're 100% right.
You're gonna bike there with your kids?
No, No, but a good friend of the show does that. Matthew Gilligan. He lives in Charlottesville, and he puts us on his e-bike and.
Well, he's going on bicycle trails in the woods.
No. If you take a look at his Facebook page, his wife has taken his kids to school in the back of their rad.
Well, that's the city of Charlottesville.
I understand that. Yeah,
Yeah, because we have bike lanes there.
Some do and some don't. Yeah. The bike needs a lot of help, frankly. But in any event, look. There's no silver bullet, right? There's a silver buckshot. There's silver solutions to it. I just know if nothing happens, it's just going to keep on growing. You know, the prices are going to go up and all that stuff. I've always believed in it. Maybe I've offended a few folks by saying that, so I hope it's not my intention to do that. But I just know. It's going down. Lumber's going down.
I see that. Well, hit refresh. Neil Williamson's got a comment. Mark McKinney, get ready for this comment from Neil Williamson here, coming out in a matter of moments. So Neil Williamson, Free Enterprise Forum. Neil Williamson, Free Enterprise Forum. Neil Williamson, Free Enterprise Forum. Per former Albemarle Planning Commissioner Daphne Spain, during the baby boom, schools shifted to 2 shifts of learning virtually, doubling the student capacity. Today, there would be child care impacts.
Yeah, so there's child care too. But I just, if we leave it alone, it ain't going to get better.
Yeah, no, that we're in agreement with.
And so sometimes,
and I'm all for the American dream, people owning homes. We undoubtedly need more supply. Yeah. We just need to make sure the infrastructure is also considered.
Without a doubt.
That's all I'm saying.
And so what'll happen here, and it's interesting because we've talked about this before with Neil on it. Our Albemarle and Charlottesville are very unique. They currently are allowed to, as long as they wrap it around affordable housing, can do anything they want, right? Now they're working.
Walk me through that.
Yeah, so there's a code, Affordable Dwelling Unit Ordinance in certain localities.
That's what we have in front of us.
That's what you have in front of us.
Okay.
So it's a very short paragraph or so short of it, but the counties of Albemarle, Loudoun, and the cities of Alexandria, Charlottesville, and Fairfax, they can amend their zoning ordinance to increase density in order to reduce land costs. They can do that, but they have to wrap it around the blanket of affordable housing.
So I'll read this verbatim. Should I read it verbatim?
It's up to you. But
I mean, this is an important paragraph.
Well, it's been around since '88, so that everybody knows.
Do a lot of folks know this?
No.
Right. You know this. That's why you brought it up. And furtherance of the purpose of providing affordable shelter for all residents of the Commonwealth, the governing body of any county where the urban county executive form of government or the county manager plan of government is in effect, the counties of Albemarle and Loudoun and the cities of Alexandria, Charlottesville, and Fairfax may, by amendment to the zoning ordinances of such locality, provide for an affordable housing dwelling unit program. The program shall address housing needs, promote a full range of housing choices, and encourage the construction and continued existence of moderately priced housing by providing for optional increases in density in order to reduce land costs for such moderately priced housing.
That's correct. And it goes on a little bit more on its stuff. But so let's break that down a little bit. So Charlottesville and Albemarle, you asked the question yesterday if this happens in Charlottesville, how it's going to impact Albemarle County.
You do your prediction, I'll do my prediction.
Well, what I was getting at is Charlottesville and Albemarle can work together.
Ooh.
Right?
You think that's going to happen?
No.
Neither do I.
But hence the word.
Hell no, that's going to happen.
Hence the word could.
Right.
Right. Under this ordinance, they're allowed to do this, that they could work to get. Was that too direct?
No, that was hilarious. You deadpanned it. It was so good. It's so well done. I mean, they have a history of not doing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know this better than anyone.
Yeah. This would be a great thing. But Charlottesville and Albemarle could work together to work on this particular issue. And all they don't have to rewrite the zoning ordinance. Well, they have to amend a zoning ordinance to allow it, but they don't. They could do this today, or within 30, 60, 90 days. It has a public process it has to go through, but what they can do is they can set conditions. That's the important thing in this. They can set conditions based on their affordable housing plan. So they can say, and I'm just spitballing here, they could say, look, you can do up to 4 units on a Belmont lot, just to pick a thing, right? But it has to meet all this criteria. It has to be within 100 yards of a bus stop, right? And again, this is not gospel. I'm just running this off the top of my head. It has to, the schools have to have a certain amount of capacity in it, which is within that district. The infrastructure has to be there as far as water and sewer, and there's all kinds of things that
smart growth.
They can list out that if you check these boxes, and that's what these other jurisdictions do. So once they say you're allowed to do this, let's say Minneapolis or Arlington's, I was reading their proposed plan. If you turn around and you check all these boxes, it just immediately comes down and you can do it. But the boxes there's quite a few. This isn't going to be just like Keith and Jerry, let's go throw a couple of units up and see what happens. They're going to have to do this, but it has to be wrapped within the affordable housing thing. And then there's going to have to be a tax incentive, right? Because Keith and Jerry are not going to do it unless there's some sort of tax.
Yeah.
Taxes, because the costs are going to be so
prohibitive
to do. A lot.
Barrier.
Mucho.
Hard.
What would be the Spanish word? Mucho. Isn't mucho a lot?
Yeah, mucho is a lot. Mucho dinero, chico.
Mucho dinero.
Mucho dinero, chico. I wasn't sure what you're going to
Note to Smith, stick to English.
Paul McCarter, fantastic realtor.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Mountain View.
Yep, sure.
Parents,
Yep,
Mountain View
sure.
Elementary.
Sure.
His better 7/8.
Uh-huh.
PTO president.
Uh-huh.
Is her term still going on, Paul? Regardless, the McCarter family.
By the way, thank you for your service, Paul.
Stakeholders in the Mountain View plight. He says they need to do a brand new map for school districts. These small tweaks to the lines are not working. They need to start with a clean slate.
Yeah. So, again, way out of my wheelhouse, but I do.
The school situation is a very big deal.
Without a doubt, and we'll work on bringing a panel discussion
Totally.
of experts. I have some folks in mind at the state level and the local level that we can put 3 or 4 folks together and go ahead and do that. Again, way out of my wheelhouse, way out of my understanding on this vote from a business perspective. Also, it's been 100 years since I've had my kids in the school.
But you guys went through Fluvanna 1.0 and Fluvanna 2.0 from a school standpoint, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Well, Fluvanna, was a big controversial thing, but they built an awesome. And that drove real estate values. It just drove everything, right? And on a side note, I don't know why they don't use it much. They have a 1,000-seat high-tech auditorium in there that's just not used. I don't get it. But anyway, you can have concerts and incremental income.
There you go.
I'm learning from you, brother. So look,
you never told me of how you thought that's going to impact Albemarle County prices and affordability. My prediction is, and I said this yesterday.
Well, if you don't do it, I know it's going up.
If the city of Charlottesville upzones, and we know our prediction is that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't like the term upzone,
okay.
right?
Yeah, okay, what do you call it?
Well, because
massage the zoning, offer zoning opportunities.
No, what they're doing is they're allowing more by right use.
Okay.
Upzoning has a very specific flavor to it, right?
You're saying a negative stigma.
Correct. So what upzoning could mean is forced zoning.
Okay.
Right. So
offering zoning opportunities and possibilities.
So what they're doing is, which they already have the right to do this, but they can wrap it around affordable housing, and they can do anything. They have to go through a process, but they could do anything they want on that end of it. And what they'll ultimately end up doing, if this goes through, it's just a by right use in R1S or R1 or whatever the zoning they attach it to. So that's what they're working on.
If that happens, we got people watching.
Look at you and your fancy
I got
Apple
people,
Watch.
you too. I got people
have a cool
Spotifying that have comments that are listening in their vehicles.
Cool.
I'm going to get to these. All right. So
I have to, before we go any further,
Yeah.
I have to say, every time I do this, I'm super impressed with you, right? I'm having a hard time following notes in the conversation, and you, for the folks who don't know, he's got stuff coming in on his watch,
Yeah, this
stuff
is the
coming in
stuff
on his
that's
phone.
coming in from people that are listening in their cars, that are sending me DMs or text messages. I'm watching the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, the LinkedIn. I got 3 devices here.
And ask me questions.
And talking.
And paying attention.
Communicating with Judah via Facebook Messenger. But you know what? It was a hell of a
I'm
lot.
on this page.
It was a hell of a lot harder when I was doing radio.
So
So this is a piece of cake. When I was doing syndicated radio, that was a hell of a lot harder because we didn't have the technology. Here's the prediction. The prediction is this. If Charlottesville, and elections matter, hashtag content slinger, Neil
There you go.
Williamson.
Neil Williamson.
Elections matter. This election in November, the 2 open seats, we learned from Sean Tubbs and Neil Williamson this past Friday that whoever gets elected on Friday, in November, along with our current counselors, Snook, McGill, and Payne, those 5 people will most likely determine this zoning opportunity. We'll say opportunity that's coming down the horizon. If these 5 people say yes to more density in 10.2 square mile Charlottesville City, the folks that want a little more breathing room with their homes, that are proponents of R1 single family detached, and are concerned about infrastructure issues, will flood to Albemarle. And neighborhoods, in particular, the ones that come to mind, East Side, Albemarle, those price points will uptick even higher because they have the space. You look at a Crozet is pretty packed from a congestion standpoint, from a people standpoint, and they're talking about adding more.
Well,
Where that's not happening is East Side Albemarle.
Sure.
That is not happening there.
Sure.
It's happening Northern Albemarle.
Sure.
It's happening Western Albemarle.
Sure.
It's not happening East Side Albemarle. It's not really happening in South Side Albemarle.
No.
So, well, I take that back. Paul, it is happening down Avon Extended, 5th Street Extended. Avon
Correct.
Extended and 5th Street Extended, Southside Albemarle, it's getting pretty congested out there.
You're thinking like Schuyler Way, that kind
That's
of
what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jump in. What do you think?
Yeah, so look, diversity in all facets is always a good thing. Let's talk about product, right? So let's just imagine, right, how many restaurants we got in Charlottesville? A ton.
A ton.
Let's say all they ever make, every one of the restaurants only make cheeseburgers, right? Well, there's going to be a lot of them out. It's just, there's not going to be any diversity, and it's just, you're not going to go out to eat. But I don't like cheeseburgers. I like salads, right? So, offering opportunity or offering a different product is just what the market does. Now, what the zoning language does is it kind of helps control that thing. But Neil said a good thing. I mean, everybody needs to decide what they want to be, right? Crozet needs to decide what it wants to be, right? Crozet in Albemarle County has to decide what it wants to be. If the decision is, and now the question becomes who's making the decisions, right? But if the decision is we're done, this is it, then that's what it is, right? But the point I've been trying to make by talking about this is if Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville want to do something about affordable housing, and let's assume the answer is more is better for affordable housing, right? More of diversity, more choice is good across the board. They've got the tool. They can do this tomorrow. They can do it tomorrow. And they can put restrictions. I mean, tomorrow is a little bit of, they could do it by the end of this year for sure, by elections for sure. They can come in and they can say, okay, here's the new policy, Charlottesville. If you want to do affordable housing, ADUs, or multiple units, or 4 units, or 5 units, this is your checklist you got to follow. You follow it, you're done. If they don't have the human resources to do this before that, pick up the phone, call Christine Jacobs at the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission and say...
Or give the distinguished gentleman a ring.
No, they won't do that. That would be inappropriate and crossing the line. But the commission.
Why would that be inappropriate? You
because,
know this inside and out.
No, they may ask me my opinion, but what they would need to do is hire the commission, right? Who's a consulting entity to create the system for them, to go out and look how this is being done in jurisdictions A, B, C, and D, and create the system to go and do that if Chip Boyle's staff doesn't have time to do it. That's the purpose of the commission, right? It's basically, not basically, it is a consulting entity that helps jurisdictions with these type of things.
Comments coming in.
Sure.
Quick and fast. KTP, Katie Pearl.
Katie Pearl, KTP, look at you.
Yeah, KTP.
Hey, Katie, thank you for the
Love
message.
you, KTP. We've never met either.
Yeah, we're going to have I'm excited about it. Her dad's coming in from, I don't know if I'm getting myself.
Yeah, come on, easy.
But I'm going to meet her dad next week.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to it.
KTP says, it does feel like a lot of the people making the decisions that impact the schools are past the age of having their own children, impacting by the decisions.
So why is that?
She continued. We know why.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if they would make different choices if their kids were still in the school system. Yes. Katie, my kid is 3 years old. We're talking about having another one. I'm going to leave it at that. Why is it that the people making the decision about schools have kids that are no longer in schools? Because it's brutal serving local government. It's time consuming, there's no pay, and unless you have a flexible entrepreneurial schedule, you likely cannot do it. Is that about right?
That's it, brother. So, I'm blessed because Mrs. Smith allows me to do this.
Mark McKinney, CAC, Crozet. These are complex problems that have been neglected and should have been addressed 20 years ago. Specific to Western Albemarle Crozet by the county. Growth equals more tax revenue. Now we're trying to play catch up. My personal opinion, I don't see solutions actually being implemented over the next decade. However, we have some great universities, UVA, Virginia Tech as an example, who have very reputable public policy, public administration programs. I'd like to see a PhD level student take many of the Albemarle Charlottesville topics you and Keith discuss and use it as a case study. What went right? What went wrong? What do we need to fix these issues?
That's interesting. I had a conversation with a professor of architecture at UVA and 4 weeks ago, and Darden UVA is starting to grow its real estate classes. Actually, I was asked to do some adjunct, talk is what they wanted me to do. But yeah, you're 100% right. That's a great thing. Darden take it on as a project. It would be a great, they have a real estate division, some sort of great program that they can take it on to go ahead and analysis. Or you pay some money, you get folks that have PhDs and master's degrees in this at the commission and say, okay, tackle this. Give us this. But
it's called free talent.
Well, it's not free. You got to pay for it.
Well, if they make it a case study in the PhD program,
that's free talent.
That's free talent.
Neil
Williamson from Allison Rabel's Daily Progress Breezy Hill article. Charlie Armstrong with Southern Development said he disagreed with the Planning Commission's interpretation of the Village of Rivanna master plan and that the plan mentions gross density for this area. It says, in this particular area, 115 units for 115 acres, so that's a gross density calculation, he said. And beyond that, quite frankly, I think it's bad planning to put lower density in our development area. That's a philosophical difference that I think we have with some of you, end quote. That's Charlie Armstrong. I've seen Charlie and Frank play racquetball at ACAC. Don't mess with Charlie, don't mess with Frank. Southern's got some very good talent over there in the racquetball courts. Not as good as me. Charlie and Frank, though. Not as good as me, Charlie and Frank.
Well,
they would agree with that. I know they would agree with that. I love those two guys.
You're not a little competitive, are you?
I'm extremely competitive. So are you.
A little bit. Yeah. So the reality of it is Charlie's spot on, right? And I'm trying to balance.
I know this one intimately.
Okay.
Okay, no, but go ahead.
No,
No, please.
It's pretty hard for me to match an intimately.
Intimately.
So why don't you go?
You should see the incredibly strategized and organized and galvanized East Side neighborhood called Glenmore.
Sure.
And what these people are doing.
Sure.
To fight Rivanna Village and Breezy Hill. You're talking people that legitimately are current or retired C-suite executives meeting and planning weekly in a room of how to battle something with obscene wealth and time to dedicate to this.
So it's not even the wealth; it's the time, and this to
I
go.
mean, they are so organized.
Yeah, sure. So to go back to Katie's comment, right, and then and then put a little bit of a bow to it. The problem is most folks at your age, right, that are having children that are in the school system don't have the time that I have, right? And so they're the ones that are the active folks. They're also, let's face it, it sounds like you got a lot of NIMBYs there, and not in my backyard. I'm here. I don't want anybody.
I got no comment on that.
I don't. Well, it's true. I don't want anybody else in. God bless America. They can say that, and they can talk about that, and they can organize that, and do it. It's unfair to a certain degree because the other side isn't having an opportunity to do that. Because as Katie is articulating, Katie's working a gazillion hours a day, taking care of her children, taking care of business, taking care of her husband. Husband's an awesome rock star, and they're doing what they need to do to live their life. And then, certain folks like myself that have more time and are blessed with the ability. Go ahead.
Mark McKinney, Albemarle Planning Commissioners do not have term limits. CCAC members appointed by the Board of Supervisors do have term limits. So that is change number one.
I disagree
Planning
with that.
commissioners need to have term limits. That's what he says.
They don't have formal term limits, but they have some sort of term limits because
they're appointed by BOS. And if BOS turns, the BOS can appoint a new planning commissioner.
They're appointed.
Is that right, what I said?
Yes and no.
Okay. Which part was wrong?
Well, there's a little bit more detail to it. Okay. So the Donna Price is your representative.
That's correct.
So Donna Price tomorrow can pull out.
Let me tag Donna. Let's get her on the feed. Okay. Should I get her on the feed?
I love Donna.
Yeah.
I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but Donna Price can pull, if she wishes, the current planning commissioner off of that and put whoever she wishes to put on in that area. So there is somewhat term limits in that. And if Donna Price should not be reelected, and the next thing, she or whoever replaces Donna gets to appoint the person for their particular district. That's how that works. Charlottesville's a little different because they don't have wards or districts on it. We talked about this on Friday. It's really an all and out lodge thing, which is a really screwy system in my opinion. But like say Albemarle, Fulvan, or whatever. Like for instance, I'm on the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission. I'm an example of this. I've been there for 10 years. Right, but I think it's 2 years, right? I get reappointed, right? I either don't get appointed or I get reappointed. So there are term limits to that. There's not because there's not an elected position. It's not like an elected, but there are term limits.
Mark's dropping knowledge today. The length of the terms of the commissioners from each of the county's magisterial districts are coterminous with the 4-year terms of the supervisors.
It runs concurrent.
Okay. With the 4-year terms of the supervisors of the magisterial district they represent.
That's exactly right.
The term of the at-large commissioner is 2 years. The term of the non-voting commissioner is 1 year. Yeah. Commissioners are not subject to term limits.
They're not, but they're subject to elections. Again, what matters?
Elections matter.
Elections matter.
Neil Williamson, elections matter.
Elections matters because these elected officials will appoint the planning. So the planning committee, the two largest bodies in any jurisdiction. There's other entities, right? There's all kinds of stuff. But for land use and what we're talking about right now is the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors. The Board of Supervisors obviously are the ultimate decision maker here. The planning commissions are, advisory boards, for lack of a better term. They advise the board, and as you know, sometimes a board accepts the recommendation of a planning commission, and sometimes they don't accept it. I mean, I would love to figure out what the ratio is, but in my 30-something years of doing it, I can remember a lot where the planning commission said, yes, tomorrow is Wednesday, and the board said, no, tomorrow is not Wednesday. So it's not an uncommon thing.
Garrett Hughes, Jerry, and Keith, I'm listening to you on the way to Northern Virginia right now. This show is fantastic.
Thank you.
He says, to Keith and Jerry's point, the fact that the Board of Supervisors is all folks that don't have children in schools, it's what's wrong with local government. How can people determine what's right with schools if their kids aren't in schools anymore?
So let's talk about this a little bit. Thank you for the
Spotify.
Thank you for the prompt. So here's the struggle that the Board of Supervisors happens. You are on the Board of Supervisors. The only thing you do is approve the school budget or disapprove it. Period.
The school board in that situation.
That's the school board.
Right.
So what we're talking about really is a school board, and that is an elected position.
Yeah.
Just like any other, like the Board of Supervisors. It just focuses on the running of the particular. That's how this is done in the state of Virginia. Other states like Connecticut and New York, it's actually the same. There is no difference between it, but there's two separate boards. So and that's could potentially be part of the rub, right? So you as a Board of Supervisors only can control the budget. Approve it or disapprove it. How the budget is worked, how the school runs itself, how it is all done is run by the school board. The other thing you kind of control is what they call the CIP, which is money, so the board controls the purse string. The Board of Supervisors control the purse strings. The school board controls the operational side of things.
Right.
So if you're interested in school board stuff,
run for school board.
Run for school board.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I know in certain jurisdictions, and Neil will correct me if I'm wrong, I don't keep a close eye on the school board elections, but I think they're either vacant. There's a lot of vacant spots.
On school board?
I know in Fluvanna County, I think there is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Help us out with that one, Neil.
Yeah.
Albemarle County and City of Charlottesville, I don't think there are vacancies on those.
Yeah, my conversation I had with a couple of Board of Supervisors in Fluvanna County was...
But to your point and to Mark's point, take the school board. Juan Diego Wade on the Charlottesville City School Board, and we both think Juan Diego Wade's about to get elected on City Council.
I would bet on that.
Juan Diego Wade was 10 plus years on the school board.
So,
Mark says, I'm curious, Keith, how long have Albemarle planning commissioners been on the board? We have a few BOSs who have been elected for multiple terms. Ann Malik and Deantha McKeel, 3 terms plus.
Okay. Well,
McKeel, if she wins now, 3 terms plus.
Okay. Yeah, so there's no term limits as far as elected officials go. So if they get elected, then they get elected. Generally, there's a turnover on the planning commission. You don't usually. I'm a rarity on the. So the difference between the planning commission I'm on, it's a regional planning commission. We really have we just. We advise and we act as a consulting firm for the jurisdictions.
Planning Commissioner Keller at large, 4th term.
Okay.
Most in their first terms, 1 in their second term, 1 in their second term.
Yeah, that's great information. I just didn't know it off the top of my head, but I
mean, how long is Planning Commissioner Randolph? I mean,
well,
Planning Commissioner was on the Board of Supervisors. Now he's on the Planning Commission.
Yeah, and as one who sits on one of these boards, you're looking for folks to come in and replace you, but at least in my particular case, it's a lot of work. And I know Rick well. He's a good friend. He's a
great bicycle rider.
Great bicycle rider. I had great conversations with them. Sometimes we don't see eye to eye, but at the end of the day, we hug and we have great conversations on that end of it.
Since 2012.
So in order to do that job well, in order to do the Board of Supervisors well, I've said this numerous times, to do it well, it's 30, 40 hours worth of work a week.
Don't tell my wife that.
Okay.
She already knows.
It's 5 hours.
She already knows.
But the reality of it is...
I'm going to be sacrificing racket sports, it looks like. Go ahead.
Yeah, so and I'm blessed. I get to do all this stuff, and the hours that I get to put in is similar to that on my volunteer work that I do is because of what I do for a living. I can help you buy and sell houses and still do this, right? And, of course, Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, you're better 7/8.
Yeah. But Mrs. Smith is leaning on me. I must admit, time to kind of get off of a few things, which I'm working on actually. Yeah, it's time to move on.
Lumber at $9.58 now.
Oh, I had to refresh. It was 9:59. Yeah, so I think you're going to see lumber going down. But look, I mean, just a great conversation here. We don't have, again, no silver bullet.
Silver buckshot.
Silver buckshot.
Who coined that?
My good friend Robert Liberty, who I'm trying to get on virtually. He's out in Portland to talk a little bit about that. What didn't happen from an expert's perspective. He handles this around the country with the missing middle on end of it. So, I've always tried to get people on the show that's way smarter than me that are able to go ahead and articulate a position one way or the other on that end of it, on that stuff. But look, and I'll just say it again, Jerry, if we don't do anything, what's going to happen?
We're going to go the way of the College Inn.
Ooh, good segue. Good segue.
Neil Williamson, elections matter. How many parents with school-age children have run for any school board? I know at least one is running in Charlottesville. Realtor Emily Dooley.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
No endorsement inferred. Nest Realty's Emily Dooley.
That's right.
I'll tag Emily Dooley on the feed. Good comment right there from Neil Perhuge. Your name came up on the show today.
Want to go to College Inn?
Yeah. People are asking for your prediction of the corner. Jonathan, we will get to it. Jerry, Keith's take on the corner, please.
Wow. So from an emotional perspective, I would prefer it not to see the change. So we just talked about change is good, and now I'm about ready to put my old dude hat on, and I don't want to drive down the corner and see, all these different Fortune 500
Corporate corner.
Corporate corner. Thank you very much.
Little alliteration.
Good job. Corporate corner on that stuff. That being said, the market needs to kind of work itself out.
So you say let the market play out? Let the market be the market?
Well, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless
somebody steps in, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay.
I don't think we'll go back to elephants. I don't think the 20-ton elephant in the room is going to walk in and buy everything up. It's just, I don't predict that to happen. So the reality of it is will Roots eat Chipotle, thank you. Salad. Right? And I think it will. I think these 20-something, these tweens,
I like the sound effects.
These tweens, or whatever you want to call them, or teenagers and 20-something, they're very brand aware.
Yeah, oh my God, more than ever.
But the local brand aware. And I see this when we were at the wedding with these younger folks that were there, because they are to me. But, you're seeing less of brand awareness for big brands and more brand awareness for local brands. So I may be wrong. I never want to wish anybody ill, but I don't think they're going to be there that long, to be honest with you.
Chipotle.
I don't think so.
I mean, Qdoba couldn't do it. We say Sheetz is an anomaly because they didn't have the gas pumps.
Yeah.
So maybe we don't use Sheetz as a leverage point for
that
this
was
argument.
just a bad business.
It's a bad business issue.
That was just
Sheetz without gas stations is like the White Spot without Gus Burgers.
There you go.
Okay, so we throw Sheetz out. Qdoba couldn't do it.
No.
The counterpoint though is if Tip Top Terry and Hunter Craig and the female that also owns a large portion of the corner, where I really got to figure out her name. If they continue to increase rents the way they're doing, the mom and pop will not be able to afford it.
No, but it also may go the other way, right? So
What's the other way?
Well, so if it fails, right?
Then corporate will want to stay away?
Yeah, look, and I don't wish to knock the Chipotle franchisee. I don't even know who it is.
Okay. I don't think you're knocking them.
But I will tell you,
Barrett Schroeder and Pantops is
atrocious.
Yeah, from a customer service standpoint.
Literally atrocious.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
I was in Pantops. I wanted to pick up a couple of burritos to bring them home. It took me 2 hours to get them.
It's ridiculous. By the time you get them, they're cold.
I ordered it online, and it took me 2 hours. And frankly, I did it maybe about a month ago, and I just did it. I almost was going to delete the order and go and get something else. Go to Tip Top and pick
Guadalajara.
up. Or Guadalajara
Yeah.
or whatever, 100 different other places. But I wanted to sit there and figure out how long it was going to take me before I got my
You
freaking
waited 2 hours?
I waited 2 hours.
Is that true?
I swear to God, I waited 2 hours. 2 hours. No, I did a bunch of emails. And
Yeah,
stuff
sure.
like
you
that.
have work you had to do, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
like you're wasting your time. But still,
Well, what I learned
it's
is
not to
don't-
come back. Is that what you learned?
Okay, Captain Obvious.
Did you learn that?
No, what I learned was.
Would you go back?
No,
Right.
I would never go back.
Me either.
Yeah,
I had
and-
the same experience. Mine wasn't quite 2 hours; it's an hour plus. I'm getting food on the way home to help alleviate some stress with the better half.
Yeah, sure.
Better half had a tough day with baby boy.
Was
She's
it like Pantops?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And she's like, "Where are you?"
yeah,
Then she goes, "I'm putting Trey to bed."
Yeah.
She goes, "You missed bath time.
Yeah.
You missed story time.
Yeah.
You missed bedtime."
Yep.
Then she said to me, "I'm getting in the bath."
yeah.
And then she said, "Where's my dinner?"
Good
And
night,
then I
honey.
came in the house and
Good
she was
night,
more
honey.
pissed off. She was
Jeez,
more
I wonder
pissed
what.
off. And I was like,
I'd
"Oh,
send a
God."
bill to Chipotle, but yeah. So I don't think it'll work. Now you take the opposite, and I keep on saying, but you take a look at Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A will always do well, not because of sandwiches.
Because they crush it with customer service.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's
They're
exactly
they use manners and they're polite. And they have somebody in the drive thru, a human person outside, in the outside, helping Expo.
So a shout out to Christopher Eagle's wife, who is one of the GMs, the managers over at the Pantops Chick-fil-A. And I was in there the other day, and I wanted to get something to eat on the way home, got in the line, came through. I was in and out in about 10 minutes. The line was wrapped all the way around, super efficient, right? Thank you, sir. Can I help you, sir? Got out, and I literally sent a picture and texted Christopher, and I said, give your wife a heads up, kudos. This was outstanding.
Johnny Ornalis watching.
Hey, Johnny. how you
Guadalajara,
doing,
we
bro?
love Guadalajara, we love Guadalajara, we love Guadalajara.
And we love...
And El Mariachi.
El Mariachi.
He says, Keith Smith, you could have had a margarita on the patio at Guad Fontaine and got your order in 20 minutes.
You know what, brother?
He says, hint, hint, hint.
Hint, hint, hint. I apologize. I am so... You're right.
Well, Johnny Ornalis, he's got to love hearing the atrocious customer service from Chipotle.
As much as I like to go to Fontaine, if I was thinking straight and I wasn't, I could have just went...
Zion's Crossroads, El Mariachi.
And it was... I walked out. I had to pick up some shoes at Red Wing, some work boots.
That's why you were there.
And I caught my corner of my eye, and I went, okay, let me go do this. And I flaked out. Johnny, I apologize. I will. I'll say 5 Our Fathers and 2 Hail Marys.
Go drink a margarita.
As my act of contrition on that, so I apologize.
So what is your prediction of what's going to happen?
I think you're going to see a spike of this corporate stuff.
Me too.
I think you're going to see it.
And then it's going to be up to us, the consumer, to vote with our dollars.
That's exactly what's going to happen. Then I think you're going some bean counter somewhere is going to go.
There's no ROI here.
There's no ROI here.
They peace out.
They peace out. And
Then Tip Top Harry, Hunter Craig, and the lady who owns a large chunk of the corner, we got to figure out her name.
all you got to do is go on GIS.
We got to figure out Neil Williamson. Do you know her name? Can you help us, Neil Williamson, please?
So
Neil
if we're
Williamson?
making predictions on this, that's what I predict. I predict that you'll see an influx.
It happened at Penn State.
Yeah. You'll see what we're predicting. It came up and then went down.
Penn State went from charm and mom and pops and
Okay.
locally owned
Okay.
to corporate.
Yeah, but we're still in the corporate thing. We haven't came down.
We haven't gone from
We haven't
corporate.
So Penn State may be very different. I don't know. It's much larger too.
It is larger.
Isn't it like
In
50,000?
about, it's considerably larger than UVA.
Yeah. So I think what you'll do is I think you'll see the corporate stuff climb up, right? And then I think at some point I think the young people are going to vote with their dollars, and I think you're going to see it drop off. It may take a time before that happens and then there's a whole weird thing because I guarantee you they at least signed a 5-year lease.
Oh,
At least.
dude, it's probably 10 with
I
options.
would assume it.
And that's what Terry was probably thinking. And you know what those options are? And we're not assuming this is your
Yeah,
game.
sure.
I dabble in this game. You're much
Sure.
more versed. Triple net lease.
Yep.
You're maintaining every aspect of wear and tear in the building.
Yep.
10-year leased escalator every year.
Yep.
Plus
Plus their demolition cost.
Yep.
Plus their upfit cost.
So pretty much Tip Top Terry collects a check and has to do no taxes or maintaining the building.
That's exactly right.
If you're Tip Top Terry, it's an incredible deal.
It's a great thing until until you have next to what we've been talking about, Starbucks and Chipotle over in Pentops, there was a pet store place that went bankrupt.
Pet Value.
So until that happened.
And then all those customers, you know where they went? Animal Connection.
I know
Patty Zeller.
Actually, on my way over, Patty grabbed me and was going to hand me bones, and my hand was full, and I said, Liza, I'll get you next week. So Patty's great people. But the reality of it is, from Terry's perspective,
it's hard to fault Terry.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
But if we stop paying or we go file bankruptcy, then Terry's stuck on the back end of it.
Let me ask you this question. Help me understand.
Then he has
this.
to take the building apart and all that stuff.
If they decide in the 10-year
Who's
term,
they?
Chipotle, if they decide somewhere, because we're in agreement, it's probably 10 years, right?
If I was Terry, I wouldn't sign anything less than 10 years.
Exactly.
But
And he had the leverage, right?
I'm assuming that's what happened.
Okay, let's say sometime, help me, educate me. Sometime, more comments coming in here. Somewhere
I love your new watch band, by the way.
Thank you. That's a gift from my wife. Somewhere in the 10-year term,
Okay.
Chipotle says, we got a piece out of here. There's no ROI.
Yeah. Or it goes bankrupt.
Well, I don't think Chipotle is going to go bankrupt.
Good.
The company?
Good.
No.
Anything could happen.
Anything could happen. Okay. Let's say somewhere in the 10-year term, Chipotle is like, we want a piece out of this location.
So the question is
that corner location.
Is that a corporate? Is that a corporate location or is that a franchisee location?
I don't have that answer.
No, but that's important.
Well, let's take the Sheets one. Sheets one is not.
That was purely corporate.
That was corporate.
Totally
Okay,
corporate.
a better example would be Sheets then, because we don't know if Chipotle corner is franchise or not.
We don't know that.
Okay, so Sheets, Café, corner, we know is corporate owned.
We know that.
They pieced out in the middle of their lease. Does the landlord, in the language of the lease, immediately able to re-rent to somebody else? And if they do re-rent to another tenant, does it stop the cash flow of the monthly payments from Sheets?
So typically the way this works, so it depends on the size, it depends on the lease, it depends on the size of the tenant and who, what, when, and where. But typically what will happen is if Sheets wants to get out of it, they're going to negotiate their way out of the lease.
Okay.
Right? And that's what's going to happen.
So they're going to pay a lump sum up front and they have no more cash exposure.
Or they write a check for the remaining balance of the lease. Thank you very much.
But that probably won't happen.
No, usually what happens is
a percentage of what's owed.
There's some sort of negotiated exit on that. Because nobody really ever wants these things to go to legal.
Right.
Right.
Because no one wins but
the lawyers.
Exactly. So my friend.
Generally, that's how that works.
So in that scenario, let's say Chipotle does not work out. It would almost be to Terry's best interest to just keep Chipotle paying.
Yeah, so let's not talk about this. Let's talk about there's a commercial space.
Okay.
There is a one-off or two-off, meaning two location retail space in there. Right? And let's assume, I mean, this is not an uncommon thing. Let's assume that they just pack up and leave, right? I mean, that could happen.
Yeah.
Right? So then the property owner, there's a whole process they have to go through to kind of get their property back. It's almost like a foreclosure kind of thing. And then generally what happens is they bring in a firm to kind of auction off the equipment, try to get a little bit of more capital go into their way, and then you and I want to walk in there and do a new space, and then there's this whole negotiation with the owner. Okay, what are you demoing? What are you not demoing? What are we putting up? So there's I do a fair amount of this. There's enough of that. As far as a large company or a franchise like that, again, we don't know what the stacked relationship is, but it'll be painful if they walk away, meaning Chipotle or the franchisees. There's going to be a lot of pain there. And then this gentleman just gets his property back. Then the question becomes, how is this franchisee or how is Chipotle leaving the facility when they walk out the door, right? Do they have to put it back to what they call a warm envelope, right?
What's warm envelope?
Just drywall, HVAC.
White box?
White box.
Okay.
White box.
Okay.
Yeah. HVAC in it, strip everything out of it, strip all their
I
equipment
would
out
think
of
that's how it would have to be. And if they white box it, it's probably in better shape than it is right now.
Or they walk out the door, right? Which wouldn't happen, I think, with that level of corporate structure. But yeah, look, commercials are kind of a
Tricky beast.
Well, it's just different. There's not a each deal is almost different in structure and so forth and so on. We doing good?
Dude, don't you think?
Oh, dude.
I know, dude.
Dude.
Dude, the time.
Dude. Hold on, I got my Vans. Dude. I got my surfer shoes on. Dude. I impressed Judah with my Vans.
I thought the Vans are dope.
Yeah.
They're really cool, man.
They're new. I got a little bit of a little rubbing in the back on. I got a band.
Well, you got to break them in.
That's what I'm doing.
Thoroughly enjoy this.
Any 911? Let's see what lumber's at right now.
I'll hit refresh. You're hitting refresh?
I'm hitting refresh.
We're looking at lumber prices. Price per
1,000 board feet.
$961.90.
Yeah, so it's going down.
Yeah. Going down.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, but it's got to go a long way, man. So let me see. We got about $400 to go to get to
where it was, where it should be.
Well, should is
relative.
Is relative. Should is what the market's ready to pay.
Should is what we're willing to pay.
But what's the if it goes down, then it'll directly impact the sales prices. So talk. Fun. What do you got? What do you got today? You've got an awesome show today.
Scott Eliff.
Yeah, talk about
Forest Lakes Neighborhood Association in studio. Scott Eliff.
How do you say the last name?
Eliff.
Eliff.
Yeah.
Not Ellis, but Eliff.
Eliff. Elliff.
Eliff.
Today, Neil, is it today? I believe it's today. I got to check my notes. In fact, you should see the press kit I've been sent. I won't say by who, but dude, the talking points that have been sent to me about this interview is some background. It's 8 pages of background that I got emailed to me. Let's see here. I think it's today. It's going before the Planning Commission. Is that right, Neil? Today? I believe it's today. I got to look at this press kit, this media kit, that is the most, it is just ridiculously organized. Oh, yeah. But look, summary overview, specifics to the RST revised plan, conversations they've had with the developer. Look at this. This is what? This is 6 pages. Yeah. And this is just the summary overview. So this isn't the actual, it's so organized.
Yeah, and I suspect, and you'll ask him this question, I'm sure, I suspect what they'll do is they'll stack this stuff. So you will talk for 3 minutes, then step down.
Oh.
I'll pick it up and take it from minute 4 to whatever.
That's totally what's happening.
Yeah,
they have 50 to 100 speakers ready to go.
Yeah. So it's not that I'm going to predict this, but I've actually seen that go against folks like that.
Why? Because the organization turns off the decision makers?
Yeah.
That's why?
I've seen that happen. But typically in a little bit more rural jurisdictions where, it's just, a little too much.
Yeah.
We'll see what goes.
Time will tell.
We'll watch it and we'll see how it goes. I just looked at my calendar. I'm actually doing some emails that hour. I'm going to chime in and watch the show, and I may offer some opinion if it's okay with you.
Please, your opinion's always welcome.
But it's interesting. You could, it's a delicate, as one who helps people get projects either approved or so forth and so on.
Yeah, this is your game.
Sometimes it can go the other way. You got to really know your audience. And
it's today.
Yeah.
The RST development issue is going to come up before the Planning Commission today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So again, the Planning Commission is just an advisory board. If it gets shot down, right?
Still goes to the Board of Supervisors.
It goes to the Board of Supervisors, and
Albemarle's Planning Commission has tremendous amount of influence with the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah, as a rule of thumb,
because they're appointing them.
Well, so technically,
and they're more in the weeds than the soups.
That's exactly right. So the intent of that is to be the eyes and ears and the advisory for the supervisors. It doesn't mean that's the way it's going to go, but sometimes it depends on the jurisdiction. It depends on the board of supervisors.
Well, I mean, let's analyze the board. I know you got to go. Let's analyze.
I'm good. It's you that got to go.
Yeah, I'm good.
He's
too.
got to go.
I enjoy that. He's in a tough spot. J-Dubs, we'll wrap up J-Dubs here. Ann Malik.
Mm-hmm. That's a board.
She's not going to vote in favor of this.
Yeah, I'm not in the weeds on this, so I'm not educated enough about it. I think that would be a safe bet, but yeah.
Donna Price, a lot of her campaign was not this.
Okay.
That's 2.
Mm-hmm.
Galloway's going to vote yes.
Okay. You know more.
I follow this pretty closely.
I know you do. I'm not following this closely.
We'll ask Scott this question at 12:30. We'll have all the news outlets watching at 12:30 as well.
Yeah. So this is the system. This is how this is going to work. I just think on a very outside edge thing, sometimes less is more, right? And sometimes more is too much. And I know that's really, really amazing information.
What did he say?
Less is more. Sometimes less is more, and sometimes more is too much.
Tonight at 6 p.m., Williamson.
It depends on the audience that you've got to play to the audience you're speaking to. And I suspect the real conversation is not with the planning commission that they're going to have today. It's really with the board of supervisors.
Yeah.
That's what they're really doing.
Don't you think?
That's what I would be doing.
That's what I would be doing too.
Yeah.
Well said. Keith Smith.
Hey, man.
Keith Smith.
Thanks, buddy.
Yes, Realty Partners. Yes, Team Realtors. Yes, Realty Partners. Yes, Team Realtors. Trusted names in the game. You see this man's character. You see his integrity. You see his heart. If you're buying and selling, one of the most difficult decisions of your life, yes, Team Realtors, and yes, Realty Partners. They will make it happen.
Good luck today on your show, man. Yeah.
Was today fun?
Fun, right? I enjoy these. These, look, Neil and the round tables are absolutely awesome. I just like spending time with. I just like this, and it just.
And then seeing what happens, it comes up. And
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Me too. We're out of here, Judah Wickhauer, 11:40 on the I Love CVille Network. This is Real Talk Friday.
Big show on Friday. I was sending a text to Jody Mills to see if she responded. Hold on. She did. Paul Cooper and Eugene and Fitzgerald. I don't know who Eugene Fitzgerald is.
Paul Cooper's come on the show.
But I know who Paul Cooper is, and then me, which is Jody.
So 3.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a total of 5 on set.
Someone sharing a mic.
Hey, so we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We always do.
We'll figure it out.
Guys, thank you for watching the program today. Have a good rest of your morning. 12:30 is going to be hot. Join us, baby. Take care.
Nice job, bro.